Good morning, everybody. I am Mahesh Kumar, Assistant Professor in Tirthankar Mahavi University. Today's our topic is medieval tradition of historiography, medieval Indian historiography, Sultanate and Mughal period. First of all, we introduce introduction of medieval Indian historiography and definition of historiography. Early medieval historiography, the Delhi Sultanate, historians of the Delhi Sultanate. Uh, in this introduction, we will discuss about Ziauddin Barni, Amir Khusro, and others historiographer. Amir Khusro, discussion on Amir Khusro, his contribution, blending poetry and history, themes in Sultanate historiography, common themes and topics covered by historians during the Sultanate period, methodology of Sultanate historians, examination of the method and source used by Sultanate historians to compile their works, tradition to Mughal period, the fall of the Delhi Sultanate and the rise of the Mughal Empire, the Mughal Empire, introduction of the Mughal Empire period and its significance in Delhi, Indian history, historians of the Mughal Empire, overview of prominent Mughal historians including Abul Fazl and Badawini discuss on Badawini works and his critical perspective on Mughal ruler, themes in Mughal historiography, common themes and subject explored by the Mughal historians, methodology of Mughal historians, examination of method and source used by Mughal historians in their works, historians, source of Sultanate period, analyze the primary sources available for the study and Sultanate period, historical sources of the Mughal period, analyze the primary source available for studying the Mughal period, role of Persian language, the importance of the Persian as the language of administration and historiography, influence of religion on historiography, the impact of Islamic belief and practices on the historiography works, court historians, the role of the influence of court historians in shaping the historical narratives, regional historiography. Regional historiography varies in historiography during the Sultanate and Mughal period, biography and historiography, chronicle and annals, the format and significance of chronicles and annals, medieval Indian historiography, local historians, the importance of local historians is provide a comprehensive view of the period, historiography of conquest, the conquest of the military campaign, were documentary by historians, administration and governance, documentation of historiography, practices and governance during the Sultanate and Mughal period, socio-economic historiography, examination of social and economic aspect as recorded by historians, cultural historiography, documentation of cultural development, including art, architecture, and literature, impact of historiography on modern understanding, the influence of medieval historiography on contemporary historians understanding, critical of medieval historiography, critical perspective on the limitation and bias in medieval historiography, comparative analysis, comparison between Sultanate and Mughal historiographical tradition, influence of foreign historians, the impact of foreign historians and travelers on Indian historiography, women in historiography, the role of the representation women in medieval Indian historiography, technological influence, the influence of technology, advancement of the practice of historiography and memory, the relationship between historiography and collective memory, oral tradition, the oral tradition in perspective, historians' narratives, transaction to modern historiography, legacy of medieval historiography, the key figure summarizing in the main point covered in the presentation, importance term and figures, case study, Akbarnama, case study, Tariq Prosahi, uh, preservation of historiography manuscript, influence of contemporary historians, debates in medieval historiography, teaching medieval historiography, future and medieval historiography study, further reading, conclusion। तो इस प्रकार हम इस लेक्चर में जितने भी हमने पॉइंट्स बताए हैं उन पर डिस्कस करेंगे एक एक करके और समझेंगे कि इंडियन मिडिवल हिस्टोग्राफी में किसका रोल कैसा है। इसमें दिल्ली सल्तनत का जो हिस्टोग्राफी है वो देखेंगे हम और मुगल एम्पायर की जो हिस्टोग्राफी है उसमें कौन कौन से जो कवि हैं, कौन कौन से जो राइटर्स हैं जिन्होंने मुगल पीरियड के दौरान अपना हिस्टोग्राफी को जो है अंजाम दिया, उसको एक अच्छी तरीके से लिखा जिसको हम आज के समय में देखते हैं। तो फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल अगर हम देखें तो इंट्रोडक्शन टू medieval इंडियन हिस्टोग्राफी, द medieval period in Indian history span regularly from the 8th and 18th century, characterized by significant political, culture, and social transformation. Historiography, the study of historical writing and methods, plays a crucial role in understanding this era. During the period, Indian saw the rise and fall of various dynasties, most notably the Delhi Sultanate and the Mughal Empire. These empires left a rich legacy of historical records and provide invaluable insight into their governance, culture, and society. The Sultanate period, beginning with the establishment of Delhi Sultanate in 1206, and the subsequent Mughal period, starting with Babur victory at the Battle of Panipat 1526, mark two of the most significant epoch in Indian history. Both periods were characterized by the influx of Persian culture and establishment of Persian as the court and administration languages. Historiography during this time was greatly influenced by Persian tradition, which emphasized detailed chronicle of events, biographical writing, and the deep engagement with political theory and ethics. This presentation aimed to explore the tradition of historiography in medieval India, focusing on the significant work produced during the Sultanate and Mughal period. By examining the work of key historians and understanding their methodology, themes, and contribution, we gain a richer understanding how history was recorded and interpreted in medieval India. Now we see definition of historiography. Historiography is more than just a writing of history. It is the study of historian writing and the method employed to compile the interpret historical data. It involves a critical examination of sources, the selection of detail from authentic materials, and the synthesis of those details into the coherent narrative. In a sense, historiography is about how history is constructed, presented, and understood. In the medieval Indian context, historiography was influenced by various factors, including the author's background, the purpose of writing, and the intent audience. Persian influence was particularly strong, as a Persian was the lingua franca of the court during the Sultanate and Mughal period. Historians of this era often relied on the range of sources such as royal decree, administration records, biographical accounts, and oral tradition. They aimed not just to record events but to interpret them, offering insight into the moral, ethical, and political dimensions of their times. For instance, historians like Ziauddin Barni did not merely document the events of Delhi Sultanate but also engaged deeply with the political and social theory of their time, providing nuanced understanding of governance and ethics. Understanding historiography is crucial as it helps us appreciate the ways in which historical knowledge was constructed and transmitted in past. It shed light on the wise perspective and intention of the historians, following us to critically engage with their work. In the context of medieval India, historiography provide a window into the complex interplay of power, culture, and ideology that shape the historical narratives of that time. Now we see early medieval historiography. Before the establishment of Delhi Sultanate, Indian historiography was primarily influenced by regional kingdom and their culture practices. During this period, historical writing was often intertwined with religious and literary tradition. For instance, the Puranas and Ganesh, the ancient Indian history, combined mythology narratives with historical accounts. These texts, while primarily religious and mythological, also include genealogies of king and account of historical events. Similarly, inscriptions on temple walls, pillar, and copper plates served as important source of historical information. These inscriptions, often commissioned by rulers, recorded events such as victories in battle, donation to temple, and their significance occurrence. Additionally, court poet and scholar documented the achievement of their patron in literary works. These writings were usually in Sanskrit and often took the form of eulogies, blending historical fact and literary establishment. This period also saw the completion of regional chronicles, which provide valuable insight into the history of specific regions. For instance, the Rastarangni by Kalhan, written in the 12th century, is a historical chronicle of the king of Kashmir. It stands out as an example of early Indian historiography that attempt to record history in the systematic and analytical manner. This early form of historiography laid the foundation for more systematic historical writing that emerged during the Sultanate and Mughal periods. The advent of Delhi Sultanate brought with it the Persian tradition of historiography, which emphasized detailed chronically and analytical writings. This marked a significant shift in the way history was recorded in India, moving from the largely religious and literary narratives of the early medieval period to more constructed and critical approach to historiography. Now we see the Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi Sultanate, which started from 1206 to 1526, marked the beginning of new era in Indian historiography. The Sultanate was were to Turkey, Persian and Afghan origin, brought with them a rich tradition of Persian historiography. This period was the production of detailed historical record written in Persia. The administration and court language of the Sultanate, the historiography of the Delhi Sultanate provide invaluable insight into the political, social, cultural development of the time. The Sultanate period is characterized by the establishment of a centralized administration, military campaign, and significant cultural exchange. The Sultan of Delhi, starting with the Qutub Uddin Aibak and including notable rulers like Iltutmish, Alauddin Khilji, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq, patronized scholars, poets, and historians who documented their reign. This period also saw the construction of monumental architecture, which not only symbolized the power and grandeur of the Sultan, but also served as a canvas for historical inscriptions. Notable historians such as Ziauddin Barni and Amir Khusro documented the reign of various sultans, providing a rich source of information for modern historians. Their work offered detailed account of the political events, administrative policies, social conditions, and cultural achievement of their time. The historiography of the Delhi Sultanate is marked by a blend of factual reporting and interpreting, analyzing, reflecting the historian's engagement with the ethical and moral dimension of governance. This era also witnessed the integration of Islamic and Indian culture elements, resulting in a unique syncretic culture that it reflected in the historian's writing of the period. The Sultanate historiography is thus a crucial source for understanding the complexity of medieval Indian society, politics, and culture. Now we see historians of Delhi Sultanate. The Delhi Sultanate produced several notable historians who contributed significantly to the tradition of historiography in India. Among them, Ziauddin Barni and Amir Khusro stand out of their detailed and insightful work. Ziauddin Barni, a historian that political thinker, authored the Tariq-e-Rosahi and Fatwa-e-Jahadari. Varni works are invaluable for understanding the political and social history of the Delhi Sultanate. The Turkish, the Tariq-e-Firoz provides a chronological account of Delhi Sultanate from the establishment of Sultanate to the reign of Firoz Shah Tughlaq. Varni Fatawa-e-Jahidari, on other hand, it is treatise on political theory and governance, reflecting his deep engagement with the ethical dimension of statecraft. Bunny historiography is characterized by his analytical approach and his emphasis on the moral and ethical aspect of governance. Amir Khusro, another prominent figure, was a polymath who made significant contribution to historiography through his poetic and historical writings. His works such as Tughlaqnama and Khajain ul Fatah blend historical narrative with literary engage, providing a vibe portrayal of court life, military campaign, and cultural achievement. His unique style combines factual reporting with quiet expression, making his work both informative and enjoyable. Khusro's contribution to historiography are significant not only for their historical content but also of their literary merit. These historians, through their work, provide a comprehensive view of the Delhi Sultanate, offering insight into the political dynamics, social structure, and cultural achievement. Their writings are crucial sources for understanding the complexity of medieval Indian history and the historiographical practice of that time. Now we discuss about Ziauddin Barni. Ziauddin Barni was one of the most prominent historians of Delhi Sultanate. Born in 1285, Barni served in the court of Sultanate Sultan Muhammad bin Tughlaq and his successor Firoz Tughlaq. His work, including the Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi and the Fatwa-e-Jahandari, are critical sources for understanding the history and political of Sultanate period. The Tarikh-e-Firoz Shahi, written in Persian language, provide a chronological account of the Delhi Sultanate from the establishment of Sultan and reign of Firoz Tughlaq. One meticulous recording of events, coupled with his analytical insight, makes this work as invaluable historical sources. The Fatwa Jahadari, on the other hand, is a treatise on political theory and governance. In this work, Vanni reflected on the ethical and moral dimension of statecraft, offering advice to rulers on how to govern, justify, and effectively. Vanni writings reflect in his deep engagement with the political and social issues of his time. He was not merely chronologian of events, but also a thinker who sought understand and interpret the underlying principle of governance. One emphasized on justice, morality, and the welfare of the subject, rivals his concern for ethical governance. His works provide detailed account of the reign of various sultans in highlighting the their achievement and failures. One historiography is characterized by his analytical approaches and his focus on the moral and ethical dimension of governance. His writing offer valuable insights into the complexity of medieval Indian politics and the challenges faced by rulers in maintaining stability and justice. Bunny works continue to be studied by historians for their detailed documentation of the Sultanate period and their contribution to political theory and history. Now we see Amir Khusro. Amir Khusro, a versatile genius of Delhi Sultanate, he was born 1253 and served as a court poet and scholar for several sultans, including Balban, Alauddin Khilji, and Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Khusro made significant contribution to historiography through the poetic and historical writings. His works such as Tughlaqnama, Khazan ul Fatu, and Nuh Sifir are notable for their literary engines and historical detail. Khusro historiography is distinguished by its narratives style, blending historical facts with poetic expression, reflecting his unique position as both a poet and historian. The Tughlaqnama, for instance, provide a detailed account of the reign of Ghiyasuddin Tughlaq and his successor, while Khaizun ul Futuh document with the achievement of Alauddin Khilji, particularly his military campaign and administrative reforms. This work offers a wide portrayal of court life, military exploits, and cultural development, providing a comprehensive view of the Sultanate period. Khusro's poetic talent shined through his historical writings, making his account not only informative but also engaging the enjoyable to read. His ability to blend historical narrative with literary elegance set his work apart from other historians of his time. Khosrow's contribution to historiography are significant not only for their historical content but also for their literary merit, offering insight into their rich cultural and intellectual of Sultanate period. His writing reflect the syncretic culture and medieval India, where Persian, Indian, and Islamic tradition was to create a unique culture landscape. Through his work, Khusro provided a window into the complexity of medieval Indian society, politics, and culture, making his contribution to invaluable for understanding the historiographical practices of the time. Now we see themes in Sultanate historiography. Now we discuss on themes in Sultanate historiography. Historiography during the Delhi Sultanate period covered a wide range of themes, reflecting the diverse interest and concern of the historian. One of the central themes was the documentation of political events, including the rise and fall of rulers, military campaign, and administrative policies. Historians like Ziauddin Barni, Amir Khusro provide detailed account of the reign of various sultan, highlighting their achievement and figures. Another important theme was the examination of governance and statecraft. Historians engaged deeply with the ethical and moral dimension of governance, offering advice and critique of the conduct of rulers. Varni Fateh-i-Jahangiri, for instance, in treatise on political theory and discuss the principle of just effective governance. The social economic condition of that time also featured prominently in Sultanate historiography. Historians documented the social structure, economy activities, and cultural practices, providing insight into the daily life of the people. The impact of Islam and the integration of Persian culture were significant themes as well. Historians explore the influence of Islamic beliefs and practices on the society and culture of medieval India, as well as the role of Persian language and literature in shaping the cultural landscape and interaction between the Islamic rulers and the prominently Hindu population, including the policies towards religious minorities, were also prominent topic of discussion. Additionally, historians documented the cultural achievement of the period, including developments in art, architecture, literature, and music. The construction of monumental architecture such as Qutub Minar and Alai Darwaza, and the patronage of arts and literature by the Sultan of Sultan were main highlights of Sultanate historiography. These themes reflect the multifaceted nature of historical writings during the Delhi Sultanate, offering a comprehensive view of the political, social, and cultural dynamic of the period.